Hello, my friend, David here. It's been a while since my last video, so I wanted to shoot this video for you today and hopefully shed some light on a few different things, mostly surrounding our origins and why the world is the way it is. So stick around. So today I want to talk about the why we're seeing what we're seeing and how it's been set up like that. Because for a lot of people, for people that don't know about the NWO, they would think that it's absolutely crazy to say that there's a handful of people controlling the planet and everything on it. It's even more crazy when you find out that there's beings controlling those people, and those beings are, you know, reptilians of different species of reptilians who may live on planet underground, and they may live off planet too. So when I found that out, I was like, okay, but it kind of makes sense. Like I got into a point where I was open to this information and I was like, it doesn't really seem too crazy. You know, I'd seen a lot of different videos on the internet about shapeshifters and stuff. And I was like, really, really interested in this whole reptilian kind of, phenomenon. And I watched a video last night, which really connected a lot of dots and really filled in a lot of spaces for me. So I want to start by saying that when I was studying the human mind, when I first started studying that back in 2017, I became aware of the amygdala. And in our brain, we have three different parts to it. One of those parts is the reptilian brain. So when I watched this video, and what the woman said was that these reptilians were on planet Earth for a long, long time, like millions of years, and they inhabited this planet originally. And at some point, there was another race that came down and wanted to inhabit the planet, and they were the Anunnaki. And then the Anunnaki, the reptilians didn't like that, obviously, because they've got this race, another race of alien coming in to kind of inhabit the planet. So they agreed to have one side of the planet or whatever, or certain parts of the planet would be one race and another side would be the other race. But eventually, the Anunnaki came here to mine things. They wanted to mine the natural resources, and they didn't want to do the work themselves. So what they did was they created a slave race, and there were many different iterations of the human being before it became what we know, what we are. But essentially, they created us, and they created us with their. It's a mix. We're a mix of the Anunnaki and the reptilians. That's why we have a reptilian brain. And the reptilians are not able to vibrate at high frequencies like we are, but the Anunnaki are. So we're like a hybrid, and we have the ability to vibrate at high frequencies, but also we have the ability to vibrate at very low frequencies. So around this kind of went on for a while, and the reptilians ended up using us as slaves as well. But around the Egyptian times, the Galactic Federation of Light, who pretty much oversee the entire universe, as I understand it. I'm not too familiar with them, and I have heard about them before. But they oversee the universe and everything that goes on. And we'll get to that a little bit later. But essentially, around the Egyptian times, they came to Earth and they said, okay, you guys both have to leave. And the Anunnaki decided to leave, but the reptilians didn't want to leave. They said, no, this is our planet. We want to stay here. And so the Galactic Federation of Light said, okay, you can stay, but you can't be seen by the humans. You've got to let the humans cultivate a society and live out their lives how they want to live. And so they went underground. Sorry, sun went away. So they went underground, but they ended up finding a way around it. So yes, they're not above ground where we can see them, but what they did is they ended up controlling the planet, and they ended up using people in high places to do their bidding. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing today. That's why this whole agenda has been played out for a very long time. It's been played out for thousands of years. And you hear about celebrities, selling their soul for fame and things like that. And that always got me interested, obviously, because people, they sell their soul for fame and money. So I thought they were selling it to the devil, and I guess in many ways they are, but they're also selling it to the reptilians, because then you see a lot of celebrities with, they're doing shape-shifting or TV presenters and things like that. So it's really interesting how it all works. And, I'm still kind of figuring out things myself, but my understanding is that, and I'd even heard about, I think there was a lawyer who was on Spiritually Raw, can't remember her name, and she was saying that in the contracts, they actually say that they have to sign over their soul. Like, that's written in the contract. And obviously these contracts are huge. Like, you may not read the whole thing, but that's written in there. So it's really interesting why that is the way it is. But I guess it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So when I heard about this, about how we are actually a hybrid of these two races, it made so much sense because of my study of the human brain. And I was like, well, that makes perfect sense. Like, it didn't, we do have the reptilian brain after all. So on my last video with Dale, we were kind of hypothesizing about different things about, is there the NWO, and are we being ushered into another agenda? Like, after that, like, we don't know. It's really hard to tell. Like, what's going to happen once all the dark has been taken care of, which is happening now. It's pretty obvious. I can see it. And so much has happened in the last few days in terms of confirmation that there are white hats and there are good people, because it's difficult to say categorically yes or no, isn't it? When you see a lot of different things, but we all want like a big arrest or something. We all want something massive, and sometimes it doesn't have to be that big a thing in order for us to get confirmation. And if you've seen Dale's video that he did where he snuck into the Dan Andrews conference, he got that confirmation through somebody else that he said that he met that day, and that was the feeling that he got when he came away from that. He was like, I reckon this guy's working for the Alliance. So that was good enough for me. And so I was talking to Dale about this, and I was like, what if there's like a higher power? I don't know what this is, but what if there's a higher power that was using the whole agenda to get us to a certain level or to a different, to grow, to ascend, right? And that's what was said in this video. Basically, she said that the Galactic Federation used the reptilians to essentially enslave us, but it was for a much bigger purpose for us to ascend and to get to the 5D. And apparently there, these reptilians are living underground, but apparently there are also reptilians that are not, that are kind of going against their masters, because they're slaves too, and they're actually joining the Alliance and fighting the bad ones underground. So it's crazy. It's crazy to think. But I guess you would always get an element or a certain number of people in any organization that don't like what they're doing, right? And that want to do good, So it's not outside the realms of possibility. So that made a lot of sense when I found that out. I was like, okay, well, that's kind of what I was thinking, although I didn't know it was the Galactic Federation of Light. But it made a lot of sense to me. That's what she said. So I guess what I wanted to also more so instill in you is this sense of it's done, like it's going to happen. We are going to win, and we're going to ascend to the 5D. I think we've already won in many ways. Like, it's just like a chess match, a 5D chess match. You know what they say. Like, a chess master always knows if he's won or lost, but will continue to play the game out, because a master can win very quickly, right? but they'll continue to play the game and they'll continue to make it difficult for the other team, which is what we're seeing now. You don't expect the NWO to go down without a fight, right? But the other thing is that the ascension to the 5D, and in one of this woman's other videos, she said that it may not happen until, like really like a lot of us will ascend to 5D by 2024. And because what has to happen before then is we all have to have an ego death. And this is something I alluded to in one of my last videos, where I said I died and I was reborn, because that's what we all have to go through right now. We all have to go through the ego death. And it's really tough when you go through it, but it's really, really amazing once you do go through it. So if you haven't gone through it yet, then just be mindful of the fact that you probably will go through it at some point in the next few years. And it's going to, what it's going to look like, it's going to be like everything in your life falls to pieces. For me, I lost my job. I got kicked out of my house. I was severely depressed, suicidal thoughts. I had no money. I was completely broke. I had like $20,000 of debt, or maybe more, a little bit more. And things seem very hopeless. But when you get through, I know it sounds like a lot and it sounds really bad, but when you get through that, and you're not going to die, you know what I mean? And you get through that, the other side is completely amazing. And we're going to ascend to the 5th dimension, which is going to be crazy. I couldn't even begin to describe or take a guess at what it would be like, But I do know that in my experience, that once I got through that, then what was waiting for me on the other side was truly magical. Unfortunately, though, there will be many people that won't be able to ascend because they're just too negative, and you will see this. And I think we've already started to see it in many ways, for people dying because of the thing, or, passing away in other ways. There'll be a certain percentage of people that won't ascend, and they'll take themselves off the earth plane, or there'll be an accident or something. But it's important to realize that their soul made that decision before they even came here. Like, their soul knew when they were going to exit the world, right? So we all have the entry point, obviously birth, and the exit point is already predetermined too. But so it almost doesn't matter what you do. That's why I think some people end up having these miraculous, like they fall from a cliff or something and they don't die. It's like a complete miracle that they're alive, or they have this crazy accident, like in a car, and the car's completely messed up, but they still manage to survive or something. But everybody else dies. So I guess we'll be seeing a lot of that, and I don't know if there's going to be a new pandemic or not, or what, because I have heard that there could be one, or if it's just going to be that people pass away of their own accord, But yeah, I guess that's the end of the video. I just wanted to let you know that everything's going to be okay, even though it may not seem like it is now. We will get through this, and it's going to be amazing on the other side. And we are in for, in the long term, and even in the next few years, I think a lot of things will happen. A lot of amazing changes will happen on this planet. But over time, I think at some point we're going to look back and it's going to be unrecognizable. And I did do a session last weekend with a friend of mine where I had some magic mushrooms, and in that session I got to see the Matrix breaking down. I got to see glitches in the Matrix. I got to see the US becoming a superpower again, but not in a dominating way, just regaining its strength and being really powerful. I saw a futuristic city as well, one of like a real futuristic city, like one that you would think that you would see in a movie or something, right? And I saw a bunch of other things too, but those are the main things that I remember that stuck out to me. So yeah, we're not going to get there overnight, but we are going to get there. So stay positive, keep your vibration high, because that is one of the most important things that we can do always. Even if you're not necessarily speaking out, against what's going on. Just having a high vibration does a lot more than you would think, because you influence others, the people around you, with your high vibration, and they raise their vibration a little bit too, just by being in your presence, and so on and so forth. It's a big, a massive, a wave or a flow on, a flow on experience of a flow on effect, should I say, of people raising their consciousness. So, as always, peace, much love, and take care.